Pick up your toys!
It's cold outside, you're feeling randy, too hard to hide your Christmas candy. I need a friend who wants to blow me. I pledge allegiance to Miss Angie, cause I wanna do some things to her.
Is this thing recording? Everybody get in line.
Cause there's nothing wrong with wanting some schlong, hooking up in Mr. Wonderland. Are y'all following?
Going and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun.
Free, super fast, and completely online, I'm in. Head to qcareplus.com.
After watching those videos, would you believe me if I told you that they were created to advertise a medication? Would you believe me if I told you it's a preventative medication designed for a disease that still kills 600,000 people worldwide? Well, believe it. This is how Big Pharma uses their money on advertising HIV preventative medication to gay people. If you're gay, most of us are aware of or are taking some sort of prescription drug to prevent HIV. The most popular way to refer to these medications is called PrEP.
PrEP is an HIV prevention option that works by taking one pill every day. PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis. When taken every day, PrEP can provide a high level of protection against HIV and is even more effective when it is combined with condoms and other prevention tools.
Not to overcomplicate it for you, they basically just prevent HIV. I'll go into this a little bit later, but as most are aware, gay people have a very long and dark history when it comes to HIV and AIDS.
Half of my generation died from the AIDS epidemic, gay men.
So a lot of us, whether sexually active or not, take this medication as a preventative measure. Like any other medication, it gets commercials made by big pharmaceutical companies. The supposed aim of these commercials is to address a problem and provide a solution.
Type 2 diabetes?
Discover the Ozempic Trizone.
Of course, with like 100 side effects, including death.
Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
High blood sugar has been reported with Abilify and medicines like it. In some cases, extreme high blood sugar can lead to coma or death.
While most of these commercials portray people in the same way that you would see for a candle commercial,
with apples and cinnamon notes that ignite your mood. True fragrance.
the ads for PrEP look like this.
Later on, we'll perspire as we fuck by the fire.
It's all gonna be all right.
I'm sure you're used to seeing the part of the commercial where they name 1,000 side effects, again, of course, including death.
Which may be fatal.
But I doubt that you've ever seen that. And no, to those wondering, this is not a parody. These are real commercials that are placed on social media as a form of advertisement for these drugs. Based off my research, this is how most of these companies will advertise these medications. Every single ad is some sort of weird sexual fantasy that never even alludes to the idea of it possibly being a commercial about a medication. I've spoken about it a lot before on my channel, but the gay and the gay adjacent communities are extremely over-sexualized. And that opinion is what pushes me to be so outspoken on subjects like kids at Pride or at drag shows. When I watch things like this,
As we by the fire,
my thoughts go from being an opinion to undeniable reality. It's understandable for gay underwear brands to advertise this way. I don't think anybody would be surprised by that. Go to Victoria's Secret. They do the exact same thing with women. It's just clothes. But this is for a medication. HIV is a lifelong disease that people are not born with. Very similar to hepatitis B or HPV. Yet, do you see people making commercials for medications adjacent to those illnesses? Do you see people making commercials like this? No. Or what about birth control? Do you ever see women being portrayed this way to advertise birth control? Why do we never see advertising like this for Plan B pills? It's always a welcoming hospital room or a very bright, sunny area being pictured in these ads.
The birth control that goes in my arm. Nexplanon is a soft, flexible implant that's over 99% effective, and if you're ready for another baby, it can be removed.
This is a medication that is used to prevent HIV. So why is it being advertised as an excuse to sleep with as many people as you can? Could it be because advertisers have figured out that this is the best way to advertise to our community? Now, why would they think that?
Another blaring example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America, where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dressed like horned demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda.
I use the term minor attracted person or MAP for multiple reasons. First of all, because I think it's important to use terminology for groups that members of that group want others to use for them. No one can control who they're attracted to at all.
You were such an awesome mom for bringing their kid out to a family-friendly drag show, ladies and gentlemen. Are you confused yet? I had sex with my father's boss in my father's office.
I am a white, transmasculine, femme, non-binary, disabled, neurodivergent, obsessive-compulsive, chronically ill, Unitarian, Universalist,
Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor. Trans rights are human rights. Are we topless at the White House?
Can you change your gender?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you change your race?
Probably not, no.
I think the really crappy thing about having a period every month is that, like, I have to experience all of this pain, all this discomfort, and I don't even get the joy or the ability to bear children.
So I went ahead and started using the women's restroom at work for the last week. Nothing bad happened. Very, very stressful.
Oh, right. I forgot. You see, we are advertised to this way because it works. See, this is our fault. These companies are not stupid. They have entire departments created to figure out a way to market to whatever community they're trying to market to. In this case, it's us. When members of our community go to public spaces and act like this, or go on TikTok and act like that.
So, quick discussion. Do you believe dogs have gender? Now, I'm tempted to say that the automatic answer is no, because gender is a human societal construct.
Can we blame them? Or does it become obvious to you that this is an unfortunate case of cause and effect? The sad part is that these actions do not speak for most of us in the community, but in the day and age that we live in, the loudest people get the most representation. It's a little difficult to miss that, right? It's very interesting to me that the drag queens and gays that have been made so popular by the so-called community are the first people to sign up to be the faces of these commercials. A lot of these people are die-hard liberals that live off of spewing communist talking points about corporations.
All white people are racist.
Frankly, our community is being assaulted, and it's escalating to violence.
We keep pursuing happiness and you keep pulling it further and further away from us. I say nay, and I probably say gay, but that's why I can't retire to Florida.
So to see them promote and be the faces of companies like Mr. and Q Care Plus that see us like sexual deviants is really interesting. It's that self-fulfilling prophecy where communists only want to share the wealth until they get wealthy. Then all of a sudden, it's only about furthering your life and your career. See, when they become wealthy, suddenly they sell out their souls for corporations. In this case, in the gay community's case, it's for corporations like Q Care Plus and Mr. So remember, kids, communism sounds good on paper, but in execution, it's a ticking time bomb. The over-sexualization of this so-called community is already frustrating and weird enough. But there is a layer to this that I find absolutely disgusting. What upsets me the most about this is how quickly our so-called community has forgotten its own history.
Acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or AIDS for short, was first identified about 18 months ago.
In the 1980s, the gay community is staring down a death sentence as the AIDS crisis rages.
The 1980s were a very difficult time to be gay, especially in America. In fact, in America, between 1980 and 1990, 10% of the entire US gay population was wiped out. They died.
I think people got effects. That's what it's all about. If I knew all the facts, maybe I wouldn't be here.
The effect of an unknown disease that would later be referred to as HIV/AIDS. It wiped out 10% of our entire population, mostly because there was no preventative measures like PrEP, and there was also a very big lack of education. But a big part of that subject that people shy away from talking about because they don't want to get canceled is the fact that gay men were having sex all willy-nilly. They were having orgies. There's so many pictures of these events happening, and they weren't wearing protection. Even you know, at 1986, 87, when they already knew that you should wear a condom, they were still not wearing them. And so these companies have realized that this works. That if you tone up the sex a little bit, it works. In the same way that they've realized that sexual advertising works on straight men as well. Look at how beer cans and beer companies used to advertise things. Look at Corona. They're not dumb. They know that it works because it's worked for decades. The question we should be asking ourselves is why? Where does that come from? In our case, as gay people, we are partially at fault for being portrayed like sexually promiscuous beings. Unfortunately, it's not talked about enough, but it's the truth. Regardless of the irresponsible sexual practices that a lot of people had in the 80s and 90s, if medications like PrEP were available, regardless of how sexually promiscuous they were, it would have saved countless lives. Because for those same people that were having sex with 100 partners, there was that one person that had sex with the wrong person. And just to be clear, by the wrong person, I'm not talking about somebody who happens to be HIV positive. I'm talking about somebody who treats their sex life like a bingo card and is not being honest about it when they go to have sex with somebody else. It happens. And I can assure you, while people's friends and families were dying, I doubt that they would have wanted to see these stupid commercials on TV. AIDS almost took out our entire community. There are literal conspiracy theories that have been put together to point to just that. And this is what we do now? We've come so far, only to amount to so little. What exactly do we have to say for ourselves? Black people have enriched this country with culture. Same thing goes for all the countries that make up Latino America. Native Americans have cared for this land since the dawn of time. Again, what do we have to say for ourselves? I'll tell you. We are creatives, directing, writing, and acting in the movies that you know and love, creating the music that's been the soundtrack to our lives, and curating the performances that you play on repeat, leading the nation through political office, designing the clothing that makes you feel special on that first date, styling the hair that will live on forever in your wedding photos, and nursing you back to health when you get sick. Unfortunately, you wouldn't know about any of those things. Our so-called community hasn't prioritized creating museums or documentaries or movies about our history. Instead, we prioritized the right to get naked and sell inappropriate books to kids, or feel that we need to be catered to in every aspect of society. It should also be said that I don't think promoting sex in such a lustful way is really the smartest way to promote safe sex practices. You make these commercials to promote medications created to prevent HIV. So is the message supposed to be as sexually deviant and free as you can? Have as much sex as possible? That's a very weird thing for a drug company to promote. Like, I can't even wrap my head around the logistics of that. It's quite weird. How does that work out in HR? But if you do a simple Google search on the men that run both QCare Plus and Mr., it's the exact type of crowd that would co-sign everything wrong with the current state of our community. Just look through their Instagrams. Men that have ties to Hollywood, drag stars, and celebrities. I'm not here to shame anybody for how they choose to live their lives. What I'm here to do is point out the exploitative marketing strategies that are used to advertise to LGBT and T people. Except nobody in these so-called communities notices or points these things out. Y'all are too busy fighting with conservatives about common sense shit like there are two genders. It's unfortunate that our community is too busy holding Target accountable for ending their DEI program when the problem is right at our doorstep. I've said this before, but it's time that we start holding ourselves to a higher standard. For a long time, the goal was to be able to get married and have the same rights as any other American. But what is the goal now? All these LGBT activists keep telling us to keep up the fight. The fight for what? Can anybody define that fight for me, please?
Then we just have to keep fighting.
Fighting for equality and fairness.
There are still folks that are fighting for our community and fighting for trans folks.
Fighting for all people, regardless of your sexuality, orientation, gender expression, etc.
Every battle has an ending. See, I thought that the ending was when marriage equality was passed. So define the fight for me now. Let's start there. These companies see us like sexual deviants. They don't care about your health. A lot of these drugs are handed out for free through government-funded programs. I'll be the first to break it to you. If somebody from the government ever tries to give you something for free, it's because you're the currency.
Absolutely no regrets.